The Phoenician Scheme is Wes Anderson's newest film, with his previous theatrical release being Asteroid City. So, was The Phoenician Scheme any good? Well, yes, I believe it to be very good, but first let's get into what The Phoenician Scheme is about. The Phoenician Scheme is about a family and a family business, and one kid who won't stop almost killing everyone by shooting bow and arrows. And to be honest with you guys, I really enjoyed The Phoenician Scheme. However, not as much as Asteroid City, which was a very controversial film. I loved Asteroid City because it leaned so much into Wes Anderson's style. It also explored deeply rich themes, and the experience watching it was just splendid. However, I've seen people hate it and say it's boring because it leans too much into Wes Anderson's style. And it's sad to say, but I think Wes Anderson listened to those critiques in The Phoenician Scheme. It seemed like he had a great vision, but was kind of held down by those critiques. It seemed like he was worried about going to Wes Anderson again. And therefore, I didn't feel like there was as much heart in this film. But first, before I start with the negatives, let me go into the positives first. First of all, like with all Wes Anderson films, it's fucking gorgeous. The set and costume design just looks amazing. I absolutely love how this film looks, and I think it's worth going to the movie theaters for the visuals alone. I'm probably saying his name wrong, and for that I apologize, but Benicio del Toro did amazing in this. And not to mention Michael Cera, who is practically bred for this role. He was meant to be in Wes Anderson films, and I'm surprised we haven't seen him sooner. I'm probably saying this name wrong as well, but Mia Threlpton did an amazing job. All in all, this cast was just so amazing. And I noticed how everyone in the cast seemed to bounce off each other really well, which I feel is one of the essentials of a Wes Anderson film. I also want to give a brief mention to the spectacular soundtrack. It really encompassed the whole mood of the film. And I noticed that Wes Anderson was a bit more cartoonish in this, which I appreciated. Also, minor spoiler, but I really liked the way the final fight was shot. Anyway, now getting into the negatives. I am so sorry, Wes Anderson, please forgive me. One of my biggest complaints I gotta say is the pacing, which is weird because I usually think the pacing in most Wes Anderson films is spectacular. They're usually all 90 minutes, and they're very tight-knit, which is what I love about it. But this story feels like it was forced to be 90 minutes in a way. There's so many interesting things about Zaza Korda, and it's basically all explained through dialogue, which I found really annoying. It just messed with the pacing a lot, and instead of being explained to, I kind of want to see, I really liked how the shoebox bit explained everything. I thought that was very creative, and it kept you very much engaged, but besides that, it just feels like he's just monologuing about his business, and it just gets kind of boring. I feel like boring is a harsh word because I don't want to say this movie was ever boring, but I can't find a lighter word, Does that make any sense? I feel like that doesn't make any sense, but maybe a bit, I don't know. And since the film only has 90 minutes, but the characters has a lot to do, it feels like some interactions with other characters are shortened. Which sucks because in this film there are so many compelling characters and we hardly get any time to spend with them all. Like Scarlett Johansson is being heavily advertised as being in this film, but she's hardly in it. There's just no time to let scenes breathe and take in the information. It's constantly just exposition. And please comment below if this happened to you, but I actually ended up missing some things, I think. Not big things, but just minor things. And remember earlier when I said I like it when Wes Anderson's films have deep and rich themes? Well, I want to say this film tries to have that. To me at least, and I think this is coupled with the pacing, but there wasn't enough time to explore these themes. I felt like there was a lot of themes of who we will be when we die and religion, but it just didn't really feel like it tackled all those well. And although I loved the jokes, all the jokes are very funny, it just felt like they got in the way of exploring those themes, since the themes are more serious. Like, there's a multitude of times in this film where I felt like there shouldn't be jokes, and there was jokes. And I get that you want to make this somewhat cartoonish, but he has to do a balancing act, and I don't think the film succeeds. However, I do want to mention the jokes are really funny. Like, I was actually laughing a good amount, and it takes a lot of work to make me laugh. As you can tell, I'm a super serious guy. I never mess around. You got that, bucko? I'm so serious, in fact, I see the world in black and white, just because, there's no color, I have no idea where I was going with that joke, but my point was that I am okay with jokes just as long as they don't take over the themes, And although most of Wes Anderson's films are very comedic, the jokes never seem to get in the way of what he has to say. And maybe that's because in this film, he seems to be wanting to tell a darker story. I think it all just boils down to this film would have been great if Wes Anderson took risks, but it didn't really seem like he took a lot of risks. I'm sorry. Please don't be mad at me, Wes Anderson. Another thing is, maybe I'm crazy for hating on a Wes Anderson movie this much. Just to clarify, I loved it. But another thing is, I feel like Zaza Korda's character was very underbaked in a way. Well, not specifically his character, I loved his character, but just his character development, you know? And now that's making me realize I need to add a positive thing. I really liked the relationship between him and his daughter. I know I already said that the characters' chemistry was borderline perfect, but specifically the father and daughter relationship was just great. They had such good comedic timing, it was incredible. And although Zaza Korda's character development wasn't the best, I thought Mia Thropton's character her character development was amazing. I thought that aspect of the film was very well done. So you may be wondering, overall, what did I think of this film? With the spectacular sets and interesting characters, this film immerses you in a vibrant, wonderful, interesting world. Dare I say, it's as immersive as Nosferatu 2024 directed by Robert Eggers. Except that film immerses you in like a dark world, this one it's much more happy. Anyway, this film created a world that I felt like I was living in, but it didn't really feel like it was explored. It was a wonderful world, but I only saw the world through exposition mostly, and that kind of annoys me. This world introduces fascinating characters, but I don't really spend enough time with them. Except the father, daughter, and Michael Cera, I hardly know any of these guys. But they have such unique personalities that I am interested in their lives. And at the center of this film, it feels like it's very risk-adverse. It feels like it's trying to recapture the accessibility of the Grand Budapest Hotel. And although it is one of Wes Anderson's more accessible works, it just feels kind of empty. I just wish I saw a 2.5-hour version of this where it explored the themes well and I saw more of the characters. So in conclusion, it's an 8 out of 10. It's still really good, but I just wish I saw more. Thank you guys so much for watching this far, and please go see the Phoenician scheme yourself so you can form your own opinion. I just want to say, despite my critiques, I still had a great time watching this film. It's an endearing and lovely comedy. It just feels like Wes Anderson never truly got comfortable making this. So please, like and subscribe if you agree with me. And please, I want to hear your perspectives on the film, because this film could grow on me like most Wes Anderson films. Maybe I just need to give this film time. I'm for sure going to watch this as soon as possible though, because maybe I just need to give it another chance to impress me, and then maybe I'll apologize for this review if my opinion changes. Maybe I missed something. Anyway, thank you so much for watching, and bye.